right, let's get into our Batman Returns review. And my first question to you is, do you consider Batman Returns to be a Christmas movie?
Yeah, I would.
I do too.
I do too, even though I said I do. Yes, I do think it's a Christmas movie. It's got a big Christmas tree in it. And it's
it's snowing all the time.
Yeah.
And like they've got like Christmas. They've
Christmas.
got like Christmas. They've got like, do they have Christmas carols? No, they don't have Christmas carols, do they?
It also has this sort of melancholy kind of tragic tone to it, which something kind of wintry and Christmassy about that.
Yeah, I mean, even the ending, Alfred says, "Merry Christmas, Mr. Wayne, come what may," and all of that, and he says, like, "Merry Christmas, Alfred, to all men and women," because I love just the pussy I've been looking for.
That's it. Here's your gift, sir. It's fishy soir. It's wrapped up.
It's cold.
It's cold. Still cold. Yeah, but no, I do.
Yeah, I think it's a Christmas movie for sure. So I do try and watch it now every Christmas, which only started like a couple of years ago. I was like, oh yeah, I should like have that in my like pantheon of Christmas movies that I watch every December. So I watched it again. I haven't seen it in a year. And boy, do I have some thoughts. But before I go into all of our thoughts here, I've got a utility belt of fun facts like we do when we're reviewing Batman the Animated Series episodes.
Yeah.
So let's go through them and let's chat about some of these. So fact number 1, when the Cobblepots are on their way to dump little Oswald in the river at the beginning, they pass another couple pushing a baby stroller. It has been speculated that the people they pass in that moment is Thomas and Martha Wayne pushing little baby Bruce in the stroller.
Well, that kind of makes sense because for some reason it's 33 years later, which is a very specific amount of years. And I don't know, maybe that's more to do with Batman's age?
I'm guessing that they're because even Shrek says like you and Cobblepot could have been like bunkies at prep school.
That's right. Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I think it's not. I mean, I'm saying these are facts, and I start with this speculation, but I think that's something that I would happily accept into the lore of this movie because I think that's awesome. That Bruce Wayne's parents are walking past the Cobblepots as they're going to dump. Oswald in
and
the
Bruce
sewer.
Wayne's parents looked back, watched the Cobblepots toss their kid in the river, and did nothing about it. Like, let's just go. Let's go see
Mask of Zorro. What do you think?
Yeah, that was a better idea. Just leave them to it. They're rich. They can do what they want, like us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then next one is Burgess Meredith, who played the Penguin on Batman 66, was asked to play the Penguin's father in the opening of the film, but illness prevented him from it.
Oh.
Do you think you would have preferred that, or do you like seeing Pee Wee Herman in the role?
I think I would have liked that. I possibly wouldn't have recognised him. It didn't really take me out of the movie. Like, I don't really want someone who's going to take me out of the movie, you know?
Right, I see.
And seeing Pee Wee was like, oh yeah. He was sort of weirdly made up, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He was just kind of there. And you did recognise him, but yeah, you wouldn't recognise him as much as Burgess Meredith, especially at the time.
Yeah. If it had been like, Arnie, that would have been like, oh God, look at that. Just get him in the river, now. Yeah.
So, the production wanted to use king penguins, but the only tame ones in captivity were at a bird sanctuary in the Cotswolds, deep in the English countryside. So the birds were flown over to the States in a refrigerated hold of a plane. They were given their own refrigerated trailer and swimming pool with half a ton of fresh ice every day and had fresh fish delivered daily straight from the docks. Even though the temperature outside frequently topped 100 degrees, the entire set was refrigerated down to 35 degrees. The birds also had an around-the-clock bodyguard. The birds were clearly enjoyed the experience. Following their stint in Hollywood, most of them had mated and produced eggs, the sure sign of a contented penguin.
Oh, that's nice. I mean, this is the kind of thing that would only happen in the 90s.
Yeah.
It wouldn't happen anymore.
I mean, just stick them on a plane. It's cold enough. Yeah, they're shagging. Look, they're fine.
It's the sort of thing that Jerry Bruckheimer would have said, yeah, do it. Yeah, just go for it.
Real penguins.
Gotta get these penguins. You just gotta get these penguins over here. Do it. Yeah, refrigerate the whole set, Yeah, I'll buy a zoo. Let's buy a zoo, okay? I'm happy with that. I like that they did that.
Yeah, I think that's fun and a cool little fact. And you can tell that they're real penguins as well when you see them. Obviously, there's ones in costume, but when like you first see Penguin's lair, and Max Shrek goes to like touch one of them, they like snap at his finger and like try and bite him, and that's a real penguin.
There's the ones that walk Penguin into his watery grave aren't real. They're not real.
No, I know. But as a kid, my brother used to weep at that, like cry every time that happened, because and so I brought this up to him recently, and he's like, I didn't cry because Penguin was dead. I cried because the penguins were sad, and I thought they were marching to their death.
Oh God!
With the penguin, and
they
I
were
was
going
like,
to commit suicide with the penguin.
Yeah, March of the Penguin,
like
Pat.
Ronin, like masterless samurai penguins.
They all fall on like a short fin.
That's having met your brother, that doesn't surprise me. That's good. That's a jump. I like that.
So Danny DeVito, whose makeup as the Penguin took 3 hours to be applied every morning, removed one of the cabinets in the makeup trailer and put in a laser disc machine and a television. Whilst they were putting on the makeup, he brought in his favourite movies and watched them in the mirror. And since then, he said that he actually, when he would go back and watch the movies, he'd be like, why are they in reverse? Like, why is the screen... Not in reverse, but you know what I mean? Like the screen's flipped. Yeah, mirrored. Hence the mirror.
Yeah. That's cool.
But yeah, that's cool. I like that one.
It's a really long time, isn't it? That is commitment to your craft. And it pays off.
Yeah.
I think the makeup's brilliant.
I think the makeup is amazing, yeah. According to casting director Marion Doherty, Tim Burton was reportedly uncomfortable with casting Christopher Walken as Max Shrek. When she asked him why, he said, because that man scares the hell out of me. However, the decision has ultimately grown on Burton as Walken was cast again in Sleepy Hollow. He was also cast to play Brainiac in the abandoned Superman Lives movie.
Ah, so Tim Burton was like legit scared of him.
I guess so. I don't know why.
He's an intimidating figure. I mean, he's like talk about unpredictable. Like you never know what Walken's going to come up with. And
he does have bug eyes. He actually looks like one of Tim Burton's drawings, especially in this movie.
He does. You can imagine the Walken, one of his little, it's that book he did,
Sketches.
The poetry book.
Yeah, the sketchbook thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got like the girl with the pins, cushion queen, and all that stuff. The Walken could have been a character. Yeah.
Can you imagine seeing him in this abandoned Superman Lives movie though? Like Nick Cage as Superman.
I sort of can.
Cast.
Like
you can see him as Brainiac. It
makes sense. Yeah, I could see him as that. I'm going to take over the world. I come from Krypton. I can imagine like. He actually makes more sense than Nick Cage does, the Superman.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, actually, I mean, especially with those bug eyes, I can see him in like the green makeup with the 3-dot logo. Yeah, he would have been really good.
I'm smarter than everybody else.
And it was such a shame that like he was cast as the Headless Horseman because Christopher Walken, if anything, it's his head that is the most like recognizable thing. You know what I mean? True. And that's weird to say, but like his voice and his presence is all in his head.
He's very scary when he has a head in that film.
Yeah, he's got like razor sharp teeth.
Yeah.
So apparently Warner Brothers had to constantly submit new Catwoman posters for various cities as many of the bus stop ads were being stolen. It got so bad that police officers had to patrol bus stops in order to catch perpetrators before they could break the plexiglass containers. The large-scale Catwoman bus ads are now worth a great deal of money.
How many of those ads did you steal?
One for every time I watch Batman Returns as a young 5-year-old.
Wow, that's a lot. I get it.
Which is almost daily.
I can understand. You know, posters were the thing back then, weren't they? So
I know, and these posters are great.
Are they just? Because they're like full body Catwoman.
No, they're so. The first poster is like all three heads, and they're just kind of floating in this blue mist. And you got Batman Returns underneath. And then the single posters were them coming out of the blue mist a bit more, but it was mostly like just torso and head that you would see. And I remember seeing them at London bus stops, and that's what people were stealing, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So Batman doesn't wear boots in the movie. They're Air Jordan 6s connected to an upper boot, which give the boot-like feeling, apparently.
Ah, I don't remember his boots.
So he's going to be in Space Jam next. Batman Air Jordan.
That makes sense. They would be comfortable, and oh god, if there were a pair of black Batman Air Jordans, I would be on them like a shot.
I would actually own those. Yeah. That sounds good. Because in the first one, in Batman '89, they're Nikes integrated into the boot.
Yeah.
And then in this one, they upped it to Air Jordans because it's 1992, and that's when they were starting to be a thing.
Yeah, shooting hoops.
So some more stuff. The cat suit was so tight on Michelle Pfeiffer that she often had trouble hearing her own voice. Tim Burton had to tell her to lower her voice register because she would often shout her dialogue instead of just saying it.
My God, she really was like sewn into that thing, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. She was was saran wrapped into it, basically. Yeah. It's crazy. But again...
It works.
It works.
It worked for you, yeah.
It did indeed. We got a couple more here. This is the first live-action Batman film to use computer-generated visual effects. The shield on the Batmobile, as opposed to the previous film, is CG, and the remote-controlled Batarang is CG as well.
Doesn't look bad.
No, the remote control Batarang doesn't look bad. I think the shields look a bit ridiculous because they all it's like they flex too much. Yeah. They don't have a particular shape to them. They're just kind of like ribbons that come out.
They are ribbons. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
It's weird. Sam Hamm's original screenplay had the Penguin and Catwoman going after hidden treasure. Dissatisfied with this, Tim Burton brought in Daniel Waters, writer of Heathers, who came up with the concept of an evil business mogul backing a bid for the mayor's office by the Penguin. So
let's make a mayor.
Daniel Waters is the one that brought in Max Schreck. Can you imagine Penguin and Catwoman going after hidden treasure like the Goonies or something?
Well, do you know, it would have given Catwoman more of a actual goal in the film, because as it is, not really quite sure what it is she's after, you know?
I guess not. Yeah, just revenge, I guess.
She just decides, like, Batman's in her way. Like, there's not a lot there.
Yeah, she goes from destroying Shrek to suddenly being like, I've got to get rid of Batman if I want to get Shrek, which makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense at all. Looking for treasure would have been really dumb. That would have been a very different film.
So around 43 minutes in this movie, a woman named Elizabeth Saunders, who is the wife of Batman co-creator Bob Kane, is the one that says, he's like a frog that became a prince. And then the guy says, no, he's more like a penguin, which is one of the funniest, dumbest lines in this whole movie.
It is. It's good. It's so obvious, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. He's like, I actually don't get any sort of jokes. I'm sorry.
He looks like a penguin. That's what he is.
I don't know the analogy. He's a penguin. Yeah. He's not a frog.
Yeah.
Okay, more here. We got David Bowie, who had been previously considered to play the Joker, was the first choice to play the part of Max Schreck before Christopher Walken was cast. Bowie turned down the role in favour of Twin Peaks. In addition, the role of Max Zorin in A View to a Kill was also played by Walken, which was initially offered to David Bowie as well, to begin with.
That's weird that Walken was getting David Bowie reject parts. That's strange.
Yeah, and I mean, I couldn't see David Bowie as Max Schreck. I can see no one else but Christopher Walken in this role.
He does kind of have a similar tone, just like thinking about him in Labyrinth. You go. It's
yeah, but can you imagine him doing that with the penguin?
Max Schreck. Santa Claus, right? Not. Yeah, that would have been.
Start singing his Christmas song, the little drummer boy.
Yeah, that would have been. I'm just a poor schmo who got lucky. I don't know. You're right. That would have been weird.
Giving out nothing but expensive bottles.
Yeah, no. Okay.
And then the final one here, which is a fact that I did not know until I dived into this. So originally, I started finding out about some of these facts because toy lines of this movie is like a big controversy, right? Because Batman 89 came out and they were making toys that weren't by the like hundreds of thousands. They had like Batman, Joker, Bob the Goon, and the Batmobile. That's it. And granted, there's not loads of people in that movie you can make toys out of. But when Batman Returns came out, they're like, okay, let's get ready. Let's make 60 different types of Batman. Yeah. You know, like Scuba Batman, like Hydro Batman, all these things. And we got Catwoman, we've got the Penguin. We've got like new Bat vehicles. Like, let's go crazy with this.
Yeah.
And then they saw the movie and went, oh, fuck, kids are not going to like this, which is obviously true. It's a really dark, horny movie.
Yes.
And there was a huge controversy with kids, like going on like daytime talk shows and being like, this movie like is scarring and scares me, and
Brilliant.
like, here's the reasons why. Lots of religious nutters as well came out on this movie and was like, this hurting our children. But the thing is that the Penguin action figure wasn't Danny DeVito's Penguin for multiple reasons. One, it's the based off this like Justice League cartoon.
Yeah,
like the hero. I can't remember the name of the.
It's
cartoon,
got like a kind of like a grinning, like big cheeks.
Yes,
and I've got it. I've still got that figure.
Do you?
Yeah,
so
I have. Yeah.
That's based off of the cartoon that they made the action figure for, kind of like Burgess Meredith type of action figure.
Yeah.
So they didn't have access to what DeVito's Penguin looked like because it was really under lock and key. He would go to work, go into makeup, shoot all day, stay in character, go home as Danny DeVito, and he wasn't even allowed to tell like his family or show them pictures. He didn't have any art. Like, it was that hush-hush. Can you imagine playing that character all day and then going home?
Insane.
Because you're in LA, so you're all going home. You're not, like, staying in another country. Like the first
you'd
film.
be biting people's noses for real.
Yeah, you would be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this action figure was basically because they didn't have the mold of Danny DeVito. Plus, they were relieved about that because when they saw Danny DeVito's, they're like, we can't make a fucking toy out of that. But the crazy thing is they also had a Robin.
Yeah.
Bonkers. And I had this Robin toy and I thought it was the coolest looking Robin toy. I remember the cape had the yellow inline and like then it's black on the outside, and it was very reminiscent of the animated series Robin. Actually, it had like these like bumps on the shoulders on his like cut off sleeves and all that.
Yeah.
So it is intended that the character Robin was to be introduced in this film. Reportedly, Tim Burton collaborated with DC Comics artist Norm Breyfogle to redesign the Robin costume for the introduction of a new Robin. Tim Drake was supposedly the Robin that it was going to be, and it was supposed to fit into this like gritty, dangerous world that they were filming. The winning costume was one designed by Neil Adams, but the new Robin's R symbol and bow style was influenced by Breyfogle's presentation. Kenner Toys even produced a corresponding action figure, but when Robin was eventually written out of the script, Kenner released the toy anyway, as the character was newly rendered in the comic books. So that's why that toy was released. However, the toy was a white guy, and in this movie, Marlon Wayans was cast in the role as Robin.
Wow.
He was even paid for this role, even though he never got to play the character. Wayans was quoted in saying, I was actually supposed to play Robin in Batman Returns, but there was way too many characters. I was cast, I was paid and everything, and I still get residual checks from Batman Returns.
That's crazy.
Isn't that nuts? So we would have had a Robin in this almost, and it would have been Marlon Wayans.
He's right, though. That would have been even less screen time for Batman. That would have been wild.
And how can you explain just Robin being there? You'd have to do a backstory, wouldn't you? And it would be another backstory that you'd have to do, and it would just muddy this already quite muddy movie.
And what kind of wacky story would that have been? Like, he got, picked up by a load of robins, thrown into an electric storm, and became a Robin. Like, he would have, he'd have actual wings,
father,
wouldn't he?
I will become a Robin.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know what? I've just realised, maybe because DeVito's Penguin was part of the circus gang, that maybe they could have tied in like his backstory, Dick Grayson. Well, it's supposed to be Tim Drake, but regardless, they would have done something with the circus. Flying Graysons could have done something there. That might have been how they were going to do it.
Or Max Schreck could have pushed Selena Kyle out of one window, and then he went across to the other office where there was like a, I don't know, T-boy or something, and then he pushed Robin out of the other window, and then Catwoman gets nibbled by cats, Robin gets nibbled by robins, and then they essentially have the same origin story, but one's good and one's bad because it makes no sense.
One's horny for Batman and one is not, and
one wants to help him. Yeah. Yeah.
You're my better fish to fry. And this pushes it.
That's it. Yeah.
Wow. All right, so let's talk about this movie. Let's talk about Michael Keaton's Batman first. What's your thoughts and feelings? We talked about him in the Flash movie, but obviously that's a very different Batman compared to this one. How do you feel about Michael Keaton's performance as Batman in this movie?
So in this movie, he doesn't really have much to do. At the beginning, he's like very lazy because he set up a mirror system, which means he doesn't have to stand up to look for the bat symbol. It just shines in his eyes.
If he had company over, if he had a dinner party, they're like, why is the bat signal shining straight through the window at us?
I just think it's cool. I think it's really cool.
I also have to go.
Yeah, but I don't know. Still, somehow, because he's such a great actor, he still manages to just nail this performance. He's still Batman, and with the little time that he has, I think he does a really good job. I really like his Bruce Wayne, and I like he had great chemistry with Michelle Pfeiffer, I think.
He really did, yeah.
Which still
as a 5-year-old, I saw that.
Yeah. Like, I think we both like the scene where the masked ball. Yes. I think that's a really great scene. And still, it's tragic that they can't be together at the end because, they're very similar. But I don't think he had a lot to work with, really. What about you?
Well, yeah, so I agree with you. I don't think he had a lot to work with. There was at one point when I was rewatching this where Batman is obviously, he shows up at the beginning. There's the cool Batmobile chase, which I think is fun. Although he is a murderer and he did set fire to one guy and
there is
probably
that.
fractured another guy's skull with the concrete wall
and blew up another guy. We put dynamite in his pants.
Yeah, exactly. And run over people. He murders a lot of people in this movie.
Yeah, it was quite weird.
Including the Penguin. But the thing is that I still like every time I see him. And I was watching this movie and I found myself being like, I checked my watch and I'm like, okay, I haven't seen Batman for 20 minutes since the intro. I checked my watch again. I hadn't seen Batman for half an hour. The next time Batman shows up in this movie, after he shows up in the intro, is 45 minutes into the movie.
Bizarre.
That's way too long.
Way too long.
And it's cool when I see him and he's fighting like clowns in the street and he's like, beating them all up and everything. And he does the remote control Batarang. I was like, oh yeah, this is a Batman movie. It's nice to see you, Batman. Welcome back.
But he's barely in it, is he?
He's barely in it, but he is great. I do like Wayne Manor at Christmas time. There's something about that. And I like Alfred decorating the tree and like Bruce watching the TV. All of that is really cool stuff.
Yeah.
I like his costume a little bit more than Batman 89 in this. I think it's more matted.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's smoother. It's got a bit of a blue shine to that black as well, which I quite like.
Yeah.
And I think it looks great. So
it's like there's a lot of like rooftop fights with Catwoman, and we can talk about one of them a bit later. But there's like when she's on top of him and she's looking down at him, and she barely has any mask at all. All she has is a couple of thin black lines. Like how did you not recognize Selena? Like you managed to recognize her after seeing her one time in the street. Like this woman's in your head. Come on. I think
he was too busy licking his lips after he got a kiss from her. That scene is so horny. She licks his face. She doesn't kiss him. She licks his face, which I'm like, is that like because cats lick for like a affection or something?
Yeah.
And then he just the way he licks his top lip and he tastes it. You can see him go, that was nice. What did you have for dinner, Selena? Is that raw salmon?
Alfred.
He comes back from the fight, and Alfred's just like, "What's that on your breath, sir?" And he's just like, "Nothing, Alfred." He's like, "That's not my fishy swallows. I know that. What have you been up to? Who have you been eating?"
You just go away. Just walk away.
So, I mean, he's great in it because he's Batman, and he's fantastic as live action Batman. But he's not as good as in Batman 89 in this movie.
Oh no, he's not. He's not.
And he's not given a load to be. But there's one moment in particular I really like with his Batman in this movie. It's when he's in the Batmobile. He's taking control of it after the Penguin had been remote controlling it all over the place. And he's getting away from the cops. He sees that alleyway.
It's weird.
And he's like, all right, here we go. This is going to be the time I get to use the torpedo Batmobile function. And he flicks the switch and nothing happens. And I love how he looks down at it and he goes, that's funny.
Yeah.
And he says it out loud as if like he's just narrating this whole sequence.
Yeah.
And then he flicks it again and he goes, all right, now I'm a little worried.
Yeah.
And it's the way Batman says, all right, now I'm a little worried. I'm like, Batman, this is not the Batman that I know, but I think it works so well for Keaton. And he flicks the switch like 30 times. He's like, come on, please work.
Yeah.
For the love of God.
It's really cool. Just to see a little bit of his vulnerability.
Yeah, his human side, yeah.
Yeah, I really like that bit too. I can't quite put my finger on why, but I've always liked that.
Yeah.
No, I'm really worried. Yeah, it's cool. I like that bit. It's just, it's a great performance. Keaton's just great.
So then we go on to Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. How do you feel about Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman in this movie?
I'll start talking so you can just calm yourself down a bit. I'm also a huge fan. I think she arrived at an age when I was...
I'm scratching my scratch pad in the background.
Yeah, I was probably about the right age to really enjoy Catwoman. Her origin is insane. Like, Catwoman's origin story is completely mental. It doesn't make any sense. Like, she gets thrown out the window, she gets nibbled, and somehow she learns to be a gymnast martial artist who it's completely mad.
And is she a superhero? Does she have superpowers?
I think she sort of must. She gets shot almost as much as 50 Cent did.
Yeah, and she gets thrown off buildings and like...
She does, and she just survives.
So I guess... Flying umbrella? Yeah.
I guess she is a superhero.
Yeah, she does have powers.
Before we carry on, I had a question for you. If you were pushed out of a window by Max Shrek, what animal?
I like that.
What animal would you want to be nibbled by to come back to life? What would you want to come out of the alley and nibble you?
What that's going to be an animal that you find on the street, or like
any animal?
It's escaped from the zoo.
And anything.
My mind instantly went to bats. Isn't that ridiculous?
No, that's quite cool. You could just be...
But then I'd end up being the man bat, which would freak me out.
You would be man bat.
I don't like the body transformation stuff in horror films. It always makes me uncomfortable.
But you could just look like you. You just have some bat powers and you're just insane, which is basically what Catwoman is.
Insane and horny. I would be an insane, horny
But
bat
you make
man.
yourself a latex suit that has big bat wings. And it's really tight.
And I'm flat. You'd hear me coming because all of that latex is making me sweat so much. All the villains would be like, "What's that noise?" And like, like running across the rooftops.
Oh God! Yeah.
Oh, it's so damn hot. Yeah. Okay. All right. What about you?
I really like alligators. So, alligators and crocodiles, I think, are awesome. So I just get loads of alligators come out and just nibble my fingers, and then
origin for Killer Croc.
Yeah, but like me, because I don't look any different. I just look the same. But I like alligator powers.
Oh, I see now. So I think we've just stumbled into a foolproof Tim Burton way of creating any Batman villain. Yeah, because he's, instead of being like, I don't want to read the comics, I don't like the comics. I don't want to do the comics.
Comic book guy. Yeah.
Instead, I want to create my own character. So he's going to be pushed out the window, and he's going to be bitten by a penguin, and he's going to become, I don't know why he's Donald Trump, but he's turning into Donald Trump. But he's going to be the best penguin.
He's going to be bitten by a penguin. I came in the room and said he's going to be bitten by a penguin. That's how it's going to go. Yeah.
He's going to be mayor. He's going to be the great mayor. He's going to be the best mayor.
I always said he was going to be a great mayor. Yeah.
I think you could do that. You could do crocodiles. So you got Killer Croc.
Yes.
That's an origin, as you said. Obviously, you got cats with Catwoman. That's already taken care of. You could do a scarecrow bites you, or like a crow.
Loads of scarecrows come out, bite him. He falls on the scarecrow.
Yeah, it's Halloween. They've been thrown away. It's like the end of Halloween, and the scarecrows come out. They bite him.
He's driving really fast, and he hits a tree, flies out the windscreen, and just smacks into a scarecrow, and that turns him into a scarecrow. I'm just trying to think how he'd end up in a field.
Yep, there we go.
Good. Deathstroke, just loads of people just stroke him when he dies, so he's Deathstroke. There's loads. Great, well done, Tim Burton. Well done. Your origin it made so much more sense than the comics. It was really on point. But anyway, I think she's fantastic. all that aside, I do
Yes.
think she's brilliant. Her character has no motive, really, like no goal.
No.
I don't know what she wants, but she is just she's really hot, and she
she is. She like I was watching this, so I watched this with my brother actually when I rewatched this.
yeah.
And there's a moment when she's looking at the shop window and she's like, "Why are you doing this?" And she's got like this crazy hair and this like and she's got this like wild look in her eyes and it's got the mascara's heavy and she turns around because Bruce Wayne's there and she looks at him when they're like talking about like 5 o'clock and like where they, you know, what time their date is and stuff. And I said to my brother, I was like, that right there, that look that she's giving has like stayed with me. It's been like, if anyone ever gave me that type of look, I'd be like, what do you need me to do? Because I'm yours.
Do you want me to dress as a penguin? Because I will. I will. Whatever you want. Yeah. Yeah, she is something.
I'd like to fill her void.
Yeah. Oh, he's so dirty penguin. Yeah. It's she just the way she talks, just this like slight like husk in her voice. It's just she's very cool. And she sells it. It's just a brilliant performance.
It is
for a really weird
one,
character.
It's only in a Tim Burton movie can we ever get something like that. And she just nails that role. And we haven't seen a Catwoman like that since. We've seen people trying to do like an Eartha Kitt, Batman 66 ripoff, you know, or like the recent one is very much like the, you know, the gritty comic book style Catwoman, like Catwoman.
I did like the recent one though.
Yeah, it's very Frank Miller-esque, you know, some of it, except for that she's not a sex worker like Frank Miller always makes them.
Yeah.
But just Michelle Pfeiffer is just miles ahead.
She is.
We'll move on then to some particular like things that I have a problem with. She wants to kill Batman, which doesn't make any sense, as we've already established. And she teams up with Penguin. That's her goal. And that whole scene with her on the bed, like that did things to me as well as a kid. On a side note, I've just remembered. I'm seeing images in my head now. But when Penguin gets on the bed, he does this like grunt and he just leans and he just stares at Catwoman's ass.
Yeah.
The most like, and he's like, as he and it's just, I'm like, how horny is this movie? And he actually, because she doesn't want to work with him. It's like the first incel I think I've ever seen.
But it's not work with him, is it?
Well, yeah, because she doesn't want to sleep with him.
Yeah.
In his like little male fantasy that he's created in the basement.
Yeah. He kills her.
He kills her.
Yeah.
Which is crazy messaging. Yeah.
It's almost like he's insane. Who would have seen it coming?
But it's just
hang on,
it's so weird.
This isn't the mayor I thought he was. What's he doing?
I didn't vote for this.
I didn't vote for this guy.
You know what I mean? It's just this is a Batman movie, and the reason that the villains break up or like don't team up anymore is because one didn't want to sleep with the other one. Like that's a crazy plot line.
It's very odd, isn't it?
It
really
so
is odd.
Weird.
Yeah, some really weird things. I mean, just the fact that she starts wearing glasses, you know, she's so ugly when she wears the glasses.
Yeah, Selena, the secretary.
Yeah, and then they come off.
Or as she says, assistant, or whatever she says.
Assistant. It is. It's a very odd film. One of the things I had a big problem with was the sets. It looked like it was all filmed on one set.
Yes.
They just reused the same set over and over again, and it made it feel so small. And it's actually something my friend mentioned on the podcast we did about the film, and it didn't really bother me at the time. But I think because he got it in my head, watching it again, it doesn't
very feel
small.
Like the same Gotham.
It doesn't.
That we got in the first one. It feels very small.
None of the streets feel real at all.
The tree lighting ceremony, there's like 12 people there. You know, like that's supposed to be Gotham. It's supposed to be like 10 million people. Yeah. 12 people here. Oh my God, it's a new record. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that the best set is definitely the sewer set.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think the Batcave is about the same in this. Maybe the first one has more iconic. It was even used in the Flash movie again, that Batcave instead of this one. But there is a cool scene where Batman's like come back from being stabbed by Catwoman's claw, and he's like taking off his gloves and he's sitting there in the Batcave. And that shot I've always loved because I'm always like, that's Batman right there. Like he's like in the cave and he's like, Alfred, like send the ointment down and stuff like that. And like, are you in pain, sir? And he's like, no, not really. He's looking at the claw. Like, you know, that's some good stuff. But
again, it just doesn't show that much of it. It's like, that's it. You know, you get sort of one shot of a thing, of a space. And they weren't, I don't think they were stretched for money on this film. So
no,
I don't know what it was. It is like Gotham City is like Halloween Town from The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes,
like, it feels the same kind of scale.
And
looks
surprisingly
very
enough,
similar.
that movie came out the same year that Batman Returns did.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it came out. It was being made the same year because Burton wasn't able to direct Nightmare because he was directing Batman Returns.
Right.
And there's even because Danny Elfman wrote the music for Nightmare and he also composed and wrote the music in this film. There are scenes in this movie where you can hear like making Christmas, you know, yes, and you can tell like, oh, he's like, because he was, you know, Nightmare's his baby. Dan Elfman like put his heart and soul into that movie, and I think he was just kind of like, I've also got to do a Batman movie. Okay, Batman score, I've got that down already. The Penguin, Catwoman, I'll do something new for them, but the rest I'll just incorporate Nightmare
I'll just do
music
that
into it.
Funny. I think. Max Shrek could have actually been Jack Skellington. He could have just come out and done it.
I saw a comparison recently that Batman Returns, the Penguin specifically, is the Grinch in How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Right? Yeah.
And I was like, okay, elaborate more. And there was some similarities. Some I think it was a bit of a stretch, but like you've got the Max Shrek is like all of the mayors in Whoville, or not mayors, but like all the people in Whoville that are like, you know, trying to celebrate Christmas, and they're all about tradition and all this, and they come from they're a different cut of cloth than the Penguin, and he tries to like. This is talking about the Jim Carrey one, really. He tries to like integrate himself into that society, and it goes terribly wrong, and he's cast back to Mount Crumpet, or in this case, the sewer. Yeah. And, you know, and then he's like, all right, how do I devise a plan? I'm going to steal Christmas. That's the Grinch. And this one, I'm going to steal their firstborn sons and daughters from out their cribs, and that's their Christmas ruined. So yeah, I saw some similarities there.
Good comparison. The thing with this film, though, because it's such a mess, like I'm not sure what the message is. Like, it could be that the rich have created all these monsters, but it could also be that the poor are inherently evil. So
yeah, that's true.
It can kind of go either way, depending on how you want to look at it. Because it is...
Are you saying that Charles Dickens could have written Batman Forever?
Yeah,
I mean, Batman Returns.
Yeah, the poor are going to rise up, and you know, we should just push them down. Keep pushing them down, because it could be bad. But yeah, it's I guess this time watching the movie, those things stood out more. The nostalgia are gone, and this is flawed.
Yes, I mean,
but still charming.
It's like, I guess, where does this sit? My question to you then is, where does this sit in like Batman films for you? Like, you know, I'm sure probably at the top of your list is like The Dark Knight.
It's great. It is great.
I think the Batman is at the top of your list, if I'm not mistaken. Is it not?
No, I have big problems with the Batman. Yeah, I love the beginning. I think the beginning of the Batman is one of the best openings. It's fantastic. But I do have issues with it. It's odd because this is not one of the best Batman films, but if you gave me a choice between you can either watch this or Batman Begins, I'd probably watch this. Because I saw this at the cinema when I was like 12, and I remember that, and I absolutely loved it, and I had the toys, and you know, it has that place in my heart. That nostalgia
and that impact. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, this is at the top of a lot of people's lists as their favourite Batman movie.
Wow.
I can't believe that. That blows my mind. I mean,
it's
to
not.
Each their own. It's not.
What about you? Where is it?
So Batman 89 is always, I mean, obviously Mask of the Phantasm is up there.
That is a brilliant film.
It's an amazing film, and that's at the top for me. Batman 89 is a very close second, if not tied with Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like, and all the rest, like it's kind of a jumble. Like I do love The Dark Knight, but I have to be in a particular mood to watch that movie. I could stick on Master of the Phantasm of Batman 89 any fucking day of the week and be happy to watch it. And again, that's why like Nicholson's, at the top for me. He's just such a joy to watch. And
he is awesome.
He's great. Batman Begins, I love. In fact, I've recently think that maybe Batman Begins is a better Batman movie and maybe a better film than The Dark Knight, but I don't know yet. It's definitely a better Batman movie.
But yeah, if I was to sit down and put on a Batman movie, it would probably be Batman 89. The nostalgia value as well.
Exactly. And that's where Batman Returns comes in for me as well, as nostalgia. And I watch it now every Christmas. So I do watch it every year, and I'm very happy for that to be an every year thing. So yeah, it's up there. It's not way up there, but it's definitely up there. And that leads me into my next discussion. It's mainly down to Danny DeVito's Penguin, which I just think is so out of the box.
Yeah.
So peculiar. And like my girlfriend was watching some of the scenes when we were watching it recently, and she's like, he is so fucking disturbing in this movie. And I was like, he really is, and that's the point. And it works on such a weird level. It's great. I think his Penguin is the best Penguin I've ever seen. And and I shouldn't, because I love the comics and I love the lore and I love when he owns like the Iceberg Lounge and he's kind of an arms dealer and all of that. I think that's really cool. But this is just something else, and like no one else but Danny DeVito could have done this.
No. This role is very much his.
Absolutely. Just as I said, he was in character all the time, which sometimes can be a real annoyance. Like we were talking about how what's-his-face RoboCop was, Peter Weller was doing that with the Oreos. But
Robo wants Oreos!
But like
look
eating
that
raw
up
fish.
if you're not aware of it.
Yeah, check that out. But eating raw fish, you flush it, I flaunt it. I'm always wondered, does that mean he's displaying turds like on his mantle? Like, what's he doing there?
Yeah, they look fantastic on his mantelpiece. Yeah, that's a good point. That is an interesting line.
The giant duck car is just so weird, but also awesome.
That's very Tim Burton, isn't it?
It is, but it's so like it's even in Nightmare Before Christmas when they're like making the Christmas presents.
That's right.
Halloween Town. It's the same duck, which I realized recently. Yeah, all of that goes into it, like, and him being a sewer man. Also, is he a superpowered, or like is he a mutant? Like, is he part of the X-Men? Because his blood is green.
His blood, like at the end. I mean that performance he gives at the end when he rises up and he's coughing. A cold glass of ice water. That's incredible.
I'll murder you momentarily.
It's so haunting. It's absolutely brilliant. And then he just
the music.
The
when he comes out of the water and there's this like bell that's like ding, which is very Christmas but ominous. And
and he's just like out of focus, just pulling out umbrellas in the background.
I love that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It is amazing. And the noises he's making, the gasps for breath, because he's obviously on his last legs. And I do love that. Like my brother said that's me. When I used to have like a proper night out in London, that would be me the next day. Like coming back at 7 a.m. like, all dehydrated.
I need a cold glass. Ice water. Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, it's that scene has stuck with me so much. Even down to the noise he makes when he hits the ground. Like he flops like a fish. Oh.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. That scene particularly. And the one, when he's first meets Max Shreck. Hi, I'm Fred's hand. That's a brilliant scene.
I believe the words you're looking for are
amazing.
I love that.
He is brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and I can see him like totally coming back as this character if he ever wanted to, and I think it would still be amazing. Like, I would love to see DeVito come back as the Penguin in this role, like especially because of Frank Reynolds in It's Always Sunny. Like, he just could dial it up even more, and it would be outrageous.
Frank Reynolds is essentially the Penguin.
Yeah, he is.
Like if the Penguin had gone to live in Philadelphia, he would be climbing out of couches fully naked. I just want it to be pure. You know, that kind of thing. He would be doing that. He's got guns. It sort of makes sense.
He'd have a sausage pocket.
He would. He'd slide down a dry slide at the water park. Still one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
He makes the same. I believe the words you're looking for.
Yeah. Oh, that scene. Oh my God. I'm not even going to go there. Amazing.
But like his outfit, his makeup, as we'd said, is amazing. But his outfit is so that Tim Burton style of the Penguin and what he thinks his penguin should be. Like it's all stained and dirty. Like it's never been washed. And it looks like it's been found in the sewer.
It does.
It's so gross, and even that outfit transcended into Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
Right? Like you had Oswald Cobblepot's Penguin in that show based off of the Oswald Cobblepot Penguin in Batman Returns, and Michelle Pfeiffer's blonde hair was also transferred over to Selena Kyle, Catwoman's blonde hair in the animated series, because the show was supposed to be you've just seen the movie, now go and watch the cartoon, kids.
Yeah.
Because wasn't that movie great, and wasn't it fun and not dark and scary at all and horny as hell?
Wasn't it funny?
I mean, I always wonder if I didn't see this, what my not my sexual history, but like my sexual proclivity would have been like. Like I was 5 when I saw this, Ben, and it's such a horny movie, just the pussy I've been looking for, and like just constantly about sex. Like if there is you asking about what's this movie what's the message? I think it's everyone needs to get laid. I think that's basically it.
I can't argue against that.
Everyone in this movie is trying to get laid. Batman's trying to get laid. Penguin's trying to get laid. Yeah. Selena Kyle, maybe
Chip.
she's. Chip is trying to get laid.
Save yourself. That go. Clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly.
And obviously Max Schreck is trying to, like, all of them are up for it in the worst ways possible, and it's just it's such a horny movie. And me bringing up Shrek, got a fun fact here. So Christopher Walken's character is named for German horror actor Max Schreck, best known for playing Count Orlok in Nosferatu.
Yeah, and he looks like there's a German expressionist film called The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which let's go there. Tim Burton is his style. Is very much influenced by those movies. Nosferatu, Gollum, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, these like late 1920s German expressionist movies, which are very angular, very dark, lots of shadows, lots of framing. He's all about that life. Yes. And you can see that the somnambulist character, if you want to look it up, I would say actually not. That's more the Penguin, whereas Max Schreck he actually kind of looks like, you know, the guy, I can't remember his name. In the Dracula story, there's always a guy that Dracula kind of, he's like his puppet. Renfield. He kind of looks like Renfield from Nosferatu. It's just this big hair, and it's, definitely an influence.
That's cool.
Yeah, and he's just, I mean, he's a ridiculous, like, his plan is to make a power plant that sucks up power.
Which goes nowhere, by the way.
Yeah. Couldn't he have just bought all the power plants? Like, if he's got that much money, like, just buy them. You know, it's a really weird plan.
Not very well password protected either.
No. How'd you manage to guess the password? It's a bit silly, but he's quite fun. Yeah. I like it when he gets fried.
Yes, I do too. And again, not for kids, right?
Horrible.
He is like a fried egg when you see him.
His
tongue's out. Like he's crispy bacon. So in an early version of this script, Max Schreck was discovered to be the Penguin's younger brother. This original idea was going to explain why there was a revenge subplot where the Penguin wanted to kidnap the firstborn sons of Gotham because he was cast out by his own parents whilst Max was allowed to live a life of decadence and luxury. This would also explain why the Penguin wanted to take Max's adult son Chip, even though his plans only focused on children.
I like that.
Isn't that a cool thing? I think that would have made sense. And it works for Penguin to be like, okay, I was the one that was cast out. Their firstborn son lived a beautiful life, so I'm going to get his son, and I'm going to be the one that like kills his firstborn and like make him suffer like I suffered.
It's a great idea.
That works.
This is what's amazing about Danny DeVito's performance, because in spite of all that, the fact that the Penguin really has no reason to do what he does at all, and the fact that he's a grotesque monster, I still feel sorry for him.
Yeah, I mean,
I like him.
There are points I feel sorry for him. There are definitely points, obviously, I don't. But he's a villain that has. I mean, any well-rounded villain, I think, is always going to have some, side of you feel bad for them.
But he's not really a well-rounded villain. He's well-rounded because
he's very
of what
round.
Danny DeVito does. He is, but because of the performance, I think that it's not the writing; it's the performance.
Yes.
And these like elements of vulnerability and sort of sweetness. That's why we like Penguin and don't really want him to die.
Yeah. They wanted a number one son, but they ended up getting a number two or something like that. And I was like, is that a shit reference? Is he making a toilet reference to himself?
Definitely.
He was thrown in the sewers with the other turds.
He was, yeah.
So here's some other
Fred's hand. Yeah.
I'm wiping your ass with Fred's hand.
Yeah, exactly.
So my brother noticed that Catwoman says it's going to be a hot time in the cold town tonight. And in the first Burton Batman film, Joker says, there'll be a hot time in the old town tonight.
That's true, he does, yeah.
So that's 2 Burton Batman movies where they've said a similar phrase.
Yeah.
Weird. Wonder why
weird.
he's like. Do you think that's like Sam Hamm? Maybe he's just like every Batman villain has to say this in every movie,
one.
right? Yeah.
It's gonna be a hot time in the old town tonight. You remember that line? You remember that one? Every Batman villain. Well, that's a weird link.
Want to know how I figured out how to say this phrase?
Yeah.
Here's another one that my brother noticed. This blew my mind for all Always Sunny fans out there. We not only have Danny DeVito as the Penguin in this, but we also have the actor who plays Mac's dad. He's he's the clown that steals the baby during the mayor's speech and gives the baby to the Penguin. That's Mac's dad from It's Always Sunny.
Does he say, I'm not one for speeches, so I'll just say, thanks.
Thanks, yes.
It's
and
him.
Does the
my
flip,
God, that's Mac's dad.
And then, and he goes, oh no, the hideous penguin man in the sewer. And then
that's amazing.
And then Penguin's like, goody go. I love how he says that.
his ironclad plan to charm the people of Gotham. They wouldn't question that.
The more I'm talking about this movie, the more it has impacted. Like, maybe it is better than I even think it is, because I quote this unknowingly.
I kind of feel the opposite, but yeah, go on.
Well, I don't know. I quote it a lot. Like, maybe that doesn't mean that it's amazing, but it means that it obviously has stuck with me, and it's obviously because I saw it at a young age. But like when I see a baby and like they're like doing baby voices and stuff, I always go, could you go? I don't know why I do it, but I do.
I thought you meant you take the baby and say thanks, and then just backflip into a suit. That's what you do. It's had such an impact on my life.
Yeah, that's why I don't have kids, Ben. That's why I don't have kids.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, what did you think of the Bat Glider cape?
Oh, when he just stands up and suddenly it bang comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool, but really did come out of nowhere. Like, how did he fit that in his suit? I don't really know.
I know. I do love it though, because it's very action figure oriented. I know, but
it's very toyetic.
Yes, it is. Toyetic is definitely the wanky phrase there, but that's the phrase nonetheless. Yeah, but like when he just stands on the rooftop and he does like the wingspan. Yeah. But then what's so funny is it's always ruined for me, because he obviously does that in front of Catwoman, right? Like he's just like, oh, here I am, I'm Batman with my glider wings. But then he goes to turn around and he can't turn his head, and now he can't turn his body. So all he does is he just like wobbling his legs around in a circle quickly to turn around to jump off the building. It's so weird to see him do it.
Really awkward.
Like, what did his feet look like? They must have been like moving fast and like,
It's a weird thing to sort of show Catwoman as well. Like, what's his angle there? Like, look at me. I'm going now.
I tell you, it's probably some sort of horny thing where he's just like, look how big I am.
Well, yeah, it does kind of feel like that. Like mine's bigger than yours kind of thing. It's, I like it. Like, it looks cool, but it's a weird, again, odd.
It's an odd thing.
This whole movie is just it's like a total vibe, and some of that vibe works, and some of it really doesn't.
Yeah, there is some. I mean, I do like,
but it is a consistent vibe. I'll give it that.
It is a consistent vibe, and like I do like the Christmas vibe throughout, like the black and white to it. Like it's always dark, but then obviously the snow is white, and that parallel I think always looks good in that movie.
Yeah, that does look good. Yeah.
So what do you think of the Bat ski boat?
To be honest, it didn't blow me away that much. It's cool, I suppose. Like I'm all about the Batmobile myself. I love the Batmobile. That's my favourite.
Yeah.
Bat ski boat is
Julian Caldo, as you know, Julian Caldo didn't come back for this movie, and
What's up, Julian?
And I think it shows, like in his gadgets and his weaponry, like it's nowhere near as thought out in design as it was in Batman '89.
No, and it's like it's one of those like, has he built this device especially for this one sewer problem, or does he just happen to have a ski boat which would only be used for this?
Well, maybe. I guess it could go on water, like big bodies of water, because it's a ski boat, right?
Yeah,
so I guess it's the Bat boat. It's like his Bat boat.
Ski.
But but it's still a boat. It can still go on water. There's boats that do that. Like
there are boats that do that. That's true.
So I guess this is his. I've never really thought about it because we've had the Batwing, we've had the Batmobile. The only thing he hasn't had is the Bat Cycle or the Bat Bike, but this is his Bat Boat. I
guess, but it does seem very much designed for the sewers.
Sewers, yeah.
Yeah.
It's in Batman Forever, where he goes, "What do you think, Alfred? By sea or by air?" I would love it. This one is like, "What do you think, Alfred? By road or by sewer?"
By sewer, sir. Yeah, it's not one of my favourite vehicles.
It's not one of my favourites.
It's not up there with the Mobile or the Wing.
No, I agree. And also, there's a weird thing where when the hood opens in this, when he crashes up to stop Penguin in the duck car, the hood opens to the Bat ski boat, and he's got his head, like, his neck is down into his chest. And I'm like, I've always wondered, were you like that in the cockpit, or were you so eager to get out that you were like, come on, hurry up, I want to get out?
That is a very good point.
It's a weird thing he does. He has his, like, if you watch it again, he has his, like, his chin is in his chest, and he's, like, waiting for the hood
I guess he just didn't fit.
I guess so. Or maybe that was the only model that they built. And and he didn't fit in it because obviously when he's in the cockpit, that could just be like what they do with Iron Man's mask. They're just shooting him in like a little tiny thing. Yeah,
because like we said, the Batmobile was too small for Batman initially, wasn't it? They had to actually extend it. So maybe this was just a really tight space that Michael Keaton couldn't fit in.
Yeah.
But the idea of Batman having to just lower his head just to fly about in this sewer boat, it's really impractical, Alfred. It's a sewer, Master.
I already can't turn my neck.
I can't see either side. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, he almost died by some fucking penguins in this movie. There is that scene where the penguins launch that rocket and he like does this spin around the sewer drain to avoid them. And there's this great look that Michael Keaton gives where he like looks back like, I almost died from those fucking penguin rockets. Like that's how wild. Batman dies. Yeah. I love that. I think in that moment he's like, "What the fuck am I doing?"
That would be on a par with like how Steve Irwin was stung by a stingray. Like that. Batman being blown up by a penguin rocket. It's the same. I don't know how, but it is.
Oh, he misses the penguins. He's like, "Crikey, that was a whopper."
Crikey, mate. Yeah, that's it.
So at the end of this film, we get Selina's cat in the alleyway, and Bruce Wayne takes the cat, just the pussy I've been looking for. I can't stop saying it. And he takes it into the car, and Alfred says, "Merry Christmas, Mr. Wayne," and he says, "Merry Christmas, Alfred," to all men and women. And then we pan up, and we get that final shot. Now, before I tell you this fact, what do you think of the final shot of this film?
I think I know the fact you might tell me.
Okay, all right. So what do you think of this, even if you
She's a very clean-looking Catwoman, isn't she?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, a little bit too clean, maybe. And a little bit not quite like the Catwoman we're used to.
No, so that's not Michelle Pfeiffer at all.
No, it's not, is it?
That scene. It was added after shooting had already wrapped. So it was supposed to end with Merry Christmas to all men and women. and then it was just going to pan up, and you were going to see the bat signal, and then it was going to be the end. But they wanted, obviously, to imply that Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman is still alive. Apparently, her suit has all been stitched up and fixed as well after being shot to bits and cut to ribbons. But do you know how much that final shot cost to make?
No, I don't.
It cost $250,000.
Whoa!
Because the scene had to be added after shooting it all wrapped, so all actors had been paid, and like no reshoots were like they had done all the reshoots. Yeah. So they're not getting Pfeiffer, so they had to get a Pfeiffer stand-in who obviously didn't get paid nearly as much as Michelle Pfeiffer did, but they had to recreate the Catwoman suit to fit this person. Yeah. Just to have the head turn and like to look up, but because of creating Gotham again, the look and all of that, and like just that final shot, it's the final shot of the movie. It has to look good. And $250,000 is. Was it worth it though? I don't think it was.
No, like it makes me want to see her again, but I don't need to see her again. Yeah, if you know what I mean.
I'm happy to be like, did she live or did she die? I don't know.
You know the pitch for Aliens. You know, James Cameron's pitch for Aliens, the S with the dollar sign through it. So he wrote Alien, put an S on the end, and then put dollar signs through it. Yeah. Do you think the pitch for the Catwoman movie with Halle Berry was they wrote Catwoman, put an S on the end, and put dollar signs through it? Do you think that's how they pitched it? And look at how it turned out. So well, wasn't it?
Michelle Pfeiffer was supposed to return in her own solo Catwoman movie because of this, and then it turned into, after several script rewrites and her leaving the project and other Catwomen coming on board, eventually it was the Halle Berry one.
I don't think you would have survived a solo Catwoman movie. I think you would
with Michelle Pfeiffer. I think I would have been pushed out the window. It would have definitely been pushed out the window. That final shot, I love it, but not $250,000 worth. That's crazy. I would have just been happy with Bruce Wayne driving off. So according to the screenplay book, that scene takes place at midnight on Christmas Day, which I never really knew. So that is Christmas Day. That's why he says Merry Christmas, Mr. Wayne. And I thought, poor Alfred. He had to spend his Christmas Day driving around aimlessly in Gotham looking for fucking Catwoman. Plus, it's midnight. It's way past his bedtime.
I'm tired, Master Wayne. Got to get up early and make your fishy swap.
There's another cat over there, Alfred. Stop the car. Stop the car.
It's another cat, Alfred.
We have 30 cats in the car, sir. We don't need any more.
Let's go through the city and collect all the cats. Don't we have enough cats now, Master Wayne? No.
He pushes Alfred out the window and they all bring him back to life. Honey, I'm home. Oh, I forgot. I'm not married.
That would have been brilliant. And it's just him, like, making fishy swar, but in a really crazy way.
And his own costume. Out of curtains at Wayne Manor.
Makes his own costume. That would be brilliant. And then he appears, Alfred. That would have been good.
I could just see Alfred in that costume in the streets of Gotham. Tick, tack, toe.
And the woman who gets taken by that bad man. And there's Alfred standing there. Always waiting for some Batman to come and save you. I am Alfred. He calls himself Alfred. He doesn't call himself Catwoman. I am Alfred. Hear me roar. That would have been brilliant.
I can have so much fun with Alfred Catman.
Yeah.
Alfred 6, 7, all good Alfreds. Oh,
all good boys go to heaven. Master Ray.
In the costume. I can't get that out of my head. There's so many saggy bits and wrinkles.
It would make it different. It would make it quite different. Penguin's annoyed that he can't get with Alfred.
So there's our Christmas review for Batman Returns.
Lovely.
Ben, I don't know when we will be reviewing our next movie or what even the next Batman movie will be, but we'll surely have you back. We'll surely be doing something. We decided not to go in order. Decided to be like, I haven't seen that in a while. Like, let's give that a go or, whatever. So we might come back with Batman and Robin. We might come back with the Batman. Who knows?
We don't know. Could be anything. I'm unpredictable. So that's it.